Hello and welcome to my Pagan Pathworks. My name is Lisa and I am the founder of the channel. If you are new here, we welcome you and we invite you to like and subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. We are so glad that you returned to watch our videos. In today's video, we are going to do another garden update, but before we do the garden update, I wanted to talk just a little bit about how the garden came about. So I live on a very tight budget, and when I originally started this garden, it was to help supplement our grocery bill. Now keep in mind that anything you plant in the spring is probably not going to be ready till late summer, early fall. So I knew about this timeline ahead of time, but I was hoping that by the time we reached harvest time, we could grow enough to put some in the freezer and just to help us along a little bit. In the later half of the month, especially when food shortages are being predicted. And that brings us to the other reason why slowly over time I have expanded the garden to try to grow more food, just because their food shortages later on this year are kind of being predicted. Now some of it's probably conspiracy theory, but some of it we're seeing in the stores right now with the shortages of meat because the meat packing plants are down. I personally would be absolutely fantastically happy as a vegetarian, but we are expanding the garden just as a precaution. Now, the other thing, over time, this is my first year to garden, so this garden is teaching me what not to do. And over time, I hope to be able to turn our backyard into a food forest eventually, a little at a time. Ideally, what I'd really like to do is purchase some land, about 10 acres outside and of the city limits, and just make my own farm. However, I have to work with what I have right now, and it's a little bitty city-sized postage stamp yard, which is fine. It's a great learning environment, and I am appreciating it a lot. So, without further ado, I'm going to shut up talking, and we're going to do a garden tour. So, anyway, thank you so very much for joining me today, and I hope you stay tuned for the tour. Okay, so this morning we are going to start out on the porch, and the begonias are doing very well. I am so happy they've done well right here in the it gets some sun in the afternoon, but otherwise it's shaded, and they have kept their flowers and they've just been blooming really good. I'm so happy for that. And I finally potted some of these ivies that I've had in a cup in the house. I found a little metal container for this one because I thought it would look cute. And then I decided just to leave it out here for a while and see how it does. And these are my mom's aloe veras. They're doing pretty good. And this is a Christmas cactus. And these are Alex's, my nephew's plants. Still nothing over there in the lavender, but hopefully we'll work on that soon. We have been making a fire, and we are making progress towards getting rid of that pile of garbage over there. And here is a new bed that I planted with potatoes, and this is really has a lot of clay soil and it needed to be amended, so I used some of the ashes from the fire pit to try to get some nutrients down there in the soil. I planted a couple of squash plants, but as you can see, they're not doing super well out here in this dirt. So if 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 they die, I will probably make a raised bed garden and do some garden soil on the top and see if I can get this area to do better. All of this area right here has not had as much organic soil or organic matter deposited over here as there has been over here in this part of the yard. You could tell the difference. Look how green and lush that grass is over there, and it won't even grow over here. So we're gonna have to work on that. So now let's look at the garden out here. And the marigolds are coming up well now. I'm so happy to see that. And the peas are doing amazing. And we got some sage growing in here. I'm liking this. I'm not sure what the little white specks are, but they're looking lovely. And I think this is a lavender plant. That's what I planted in here. Crossing fingers. We got lots of little bugs in there though. There's just strawberries. And the basil and the thyme are not doing well. I've tried to protect them from getting too much water, but it hasn't worked out all that well. And I'm so excited. Look, we've got flowers. We've got flowers. And over here we've got blooming flowers. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. I hope those ants don't ruin them. But this one kind of, this flower kind of went flip. But it looks like it's got another flower that might bloom. So I'm very hopeful there. The bean plants, again, are not doing super fantastic. Even though I did give them some fertilizer. We'll see. Anyway, oregano, tomato, another tomato plant. The onions have kind of faltered a little too. I'd put some slow release of fertilizer in that bag on the top to try to help them along. And so that little squash plant is not doing the best either. But again, I put slow release fertilizer on the top of these beds to try to help them along. This one does have a flower that's really, I'm just loving that. This one hasn't put out a flower stalk yet that I can see. It's got some little buds in there. And that one is a little slow to grow. And my watermelon is not doing all that fantastic either. But then I had some extra volunteers come up, or extra shoots come up. And this bag of soil, I probably won't buy this again from Walmart, because it has, look at all those mushrooms I pulled out of there this morning. So it's got mushrooms growing in there really bad, and I have to keep pulling them out. But there's my tomatoes. That one is doing fantastic. And so are the tomatoes in my inbounds, or in the ground beds. Look how amazing those look. Hopefully they will start making flowers pretty soon. Hopefully. I think we got some flowers down here in the making, so I'm really excited about that. And the little pepper in this one is doing fantastic. I'm happy with its growth. These ones are kind of struggling a little bit. This bed, the stuff in this bed is doing fantastic. And there's my jalapeno pepper I bought at the store for my mom. That one's doing really good. There's nothing coming up in the potatoes yet. There is carrots doing very well in that one. I'm very happy with that progress. And of course the lettuce. We'll have our own salad mix pretty soon. And then I thinned out the radishes so perhaps they could grow some radishes before they go to seed, and it has helped some of these produce an actual radish, but we'll see. Anyway, they're still growing well. The zucchini or the squash that I put in there is doing fairly well too. So I'm gonna leave the gates open today because I really want those pollinators to be able to get in there easy. And I think the gates being open during the day might help a little bit. So we'll see. Anyway, that's our progress we have made on the backyard. Now let's go walk around to the front. Alrighty, here we are in the front yard, and I am so excited to see that we have, oh my goodness, well, I wasn't looking. We've had lots of little seedlings come up in here. We have zinnias, and there's like 4 different kinds of seeds we planted in here. So I'm really happy to see that they're coming up. Very awesome that they're coming up. We got all the grass out. My son helped me. It was my Mother's Day gift to my mother, one of them. And she really loves those beautiful little flowers that bloom up in there. So, let's see if we've got anything blooming over here. We have lots of different plants coming up in here as well. I'm hoping those are nice. Flowers and not weeds I'm gonna have to pull later. We'll see. They're all looking nice so far. Although this little guy in the corner is struggling a bit, and I'm not sure why. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And of course the cactus and that other little bed with the tree in it is doing pretty good. Uh-oh. Our water thing came off again. And so I wanted to come and look over here and see what we got growing over here, because I planted a bunch of seeds over here as well with this jasmine flower, and the jasmine seems to be doing okay being planted here so far. I don't see any problems with it. And so I can't tell the difference between a weed and the stuff that I planted, so I'm gonna leave it alone for a while. I put like thyme and sage and some basil in here, so we'll see if any of that comes up. I just kind of wanted to turn the yard into like a food forest, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, jasmine is edible. So anyway, and of course we've got some weeds growing in with these, and another tree. There's another tree growing there. We're gonna have to get that out of there. That's too close to the house for that tree. Um, but this is our yard. It's moving right along. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you. Here's my mother's geraniums are doing absolutely fantastic. These flowers die off and then they make new little buds like that. And my little rose bush, the little roses have died off. But it is doing well. It's grown in that little pot so far. I've been real pleased about that. And then our little mossy roses up here. They're just so beautiful. Anyway, that's the update on the garden.